Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer Top 5 video. Now I know our quality has improved slightly since our first 2 or 3 Top 5s, so I hope you appreciate that. And also we're going to be doing a question and answer Top 5 more than a board game Top 5, so please bear with me. This one actually comes from so many different publishers and developers and, just individuals asking me questions all the time. And these are the top 5 questions people often ask me about myself or other reviewers. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Unfiltered Gamer's top 5 questions for reviewers. Alright guys, so on my handy dandy little clipboard here, we're going to go ahead and start with number 5. Number 5 is, will your review fund my game? Now, usually people don't ask me exactly in these terms, but they'll kind of have this expectations that are much higher than what they really should be. Now, what I should say very simply and flat out is no. No one reviewer, most reviewers, will not be able to fund your game alone. If you have Will Wheaton or Vassal perhaps, or maybe Rado, those guys possibly can fund your game all by themselves with a very good review from them. But as apart from them, most people like me, people that are, in the lower end tier of reviewers, you're going to need multiple of us. You're going to need different people. And what's going to be helpful is me providing you with a bunch of different people here that you can go ahead and check out. Because by myself, my audience is, not as huge. I mean, you're talking about the difference between 100,000 people to maybe a 20,000 reach. So please do not expect lower end reviewers, and yes, I'm including myself in the lower end tier, to be able to fund your game alone. And do not be disappointed, even if you have a great game and your Kickstarter is beautiful and your game's all set up and you only have little old me doing your review, the likelihood of your game being very successful is going to really depend on you and how much marketing you put into it and how much advertising. And honestly, it's not even just reviewers too. You need to have banner ads, you need to have contests going on, or you need to have going on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all these other great social media devices where you can actually reach out to the community. Use Board Game Geek. I mean, they have ads on there you can go ahead and use to sponsor your stuff. But one reviewer, one ad here or there, it's really not going to do it, especially if you have your site set on like a $40,000 or $50,000 goal. I see some of these people and they're talking to me and I love their games. I'm very excited about their games, and I usually give it a good review if it's a good game. That's the idea. But the thing is, me by myself or just an ad here or there, it's not going to do it. You're going to need to do more marketing and more research before you even start your campaign, especially if you're doing an Indiegogo or Kickstarter. Really do your research, and there's tons of great articles out there to show you the best way to do these Kickstarters. I could probably provide you some links in the description below to show you the best ways to do that, so I will do that. You can go down there if you're done watching the video now and check that out. Otherwise, now we're going to move on to number 4. Alright now, so number 4 on my handy dandy clipboard. The question is, paid versus free reviews. What's better? What should I do? On my site personally, I'm only going to be talking from my experience and what I do and what I think is ethical here. Everybody has their own opinion, and I'm sure you will, and there might be actually comments in this video talking about it. But how I do it specifically is I have 3 tiers. I have bronze, silver, and gold. The bronze tier is a review of your game, and the gold tier is a review of your game. The difference is timing, how much time it takes to edit the video and what's in it, music, background, that kind of stuff, as well as when it gets out. If you're a Kickstarter campaign that needs a video out in 2 weeks, that has to be pushed up ahead of time and have to have the filming done earlier. That changes all the scheduling, and so because of that, you pay for that. You never ever should pay for a review, okay? Period. To me, it makes it very hard to be unbiased as a reviewer if you get paid a lot. What we do here is the person reviewing or sitting in front of the camera right here doesn't get paid anything. They're volunteers. The way you get paid for us is if you're doing the camera work, if you're doing the editing, if you're doing the webmaster stuff, right? That kind of stuff. So should you do free? Should you do paid? That's up to you, and it's a big controversy. And that's why I like to alleviate and be open and honest on our site. It shows you everything, right? I don't put little banners up in front, this is a paid review, because it's not a paid review. We don't review games. It doesn't cost money to review games. And if you want the bronze review package, it doesn't cost anything. I don't know about every other individual that does reviews other than myself personally, so I couldn't necessarily tell you. But if you think for a second that you're paying money for somebody to review your game, I would avoid it. Because trust me, the internet is smart and they will find out. They will find out you're paying for a review, and it will ruin not only the credibility of the person that is making the video, but it will ruin your credibility as well. So avoid it at all costs, honestly. Alright, so that's number 4, paid versus non-paid reviews. I'm sure you guys have a lot to say. Maybe you guys don't like the way I do things here. Maybe you do, I don't know. If you don't like it, that's okay. If you do, great. Alright, moving on to number 3. Alright, so number 3 on the clipboard. How big is your audience? Well, that depends on different, obviously, each reviewer is different. You're going to have people like the Dice Tower and Rado. Those are, some big guys. The board game geek, all the way down to little old me. Now, you judge your audience based on the number of Facebook people that are following them, the number of people on their, subscribe to their site, subscribe to their YouTube, on their Twitter, if they've got Instagram. Even if it's the same person on all 4 different things, they all count as 4 different people, because that's 4 different ways they can branch out and help you get, new people. Maybe they have different friends on Instagram as they would Facebook. So that is your audience, your general audience. That is different from the reach, right? A reach, where people will say, oh, I can, get your 10,000 reach and I can get you 1,000 views. Reach is, generally speaking, somebody will see your video in passing, or your game, or your picture, right? That is a reach. So, for instance, I get about anywhere from 10,000 to 60,000 reach throughout the entire week. Could be more, could be more. I'm not sure exactly, but I know it's at least above 10 to 30,000 depending on the week. And the view counts are a lot different, right? So maybe my YouTube video reviews, I can get anywhere from 100 to 1,000 different views throughout your video. So that's basically how you do it. Pick all their social media points out and then add them all up. And if you want, you can make a tier system. Well, a lot of different companies, publishers, they make a tier system as to, oh, should I pay this person? It's based on how much, or should I give their game for free, or should I make them pay for shipping? And it's based on, obviously, their audience or their reach. So that's how you would do it. Add up the total, and if you like it, you like it. Obviously, your goals should be a lot less if you're newer, whereas if you're a more, more big game kind of creator, you guys already know how to do your stuff, but they already have their own way of doing it. So set up your own tier system or something. No, don't listen to me though. Just an opinion. But yeah, that's how you do the audience. All right, 3, going on to 2. All right, guys. So number 2 on the list here is, will you show us the video before publishing it? A lot of the bigger tier reviewers do not suffer from this question, so being a number 2 for it probably would never be a number 2 on their list. It probably wouldn't even existed on their list. But for the lower people like us, like me, I should say, it's a question that gets asked a lot. And generally, I used to let people do it. But the thing is, people are too nitpicky, especially publishers. Publishers all think their game is their baby, and it is. And I respect that completely. I've made games myself, and they're my baby as well. And it's hard for people to take criticism, right? And if they think something's wrong, or they like to argue with you about it, I can't do it anymore. And I don't think anybody should, honestly. If there's a glaring mistake when the game is pumped out, if a rule error is humongously awful, then yes, you should definitely correct your mistake. But as for having them go over each and every little thing in your video, no, you probably shouldn't do that, honestly. It's not worth your time or theirs. If, like I said, there's a glaring mistake, that could be one thing. But honestly, your audience, the board game audience, is very, very intelligent. And they'll realize that you're making a mistake in a video really, really quick. And they'll point it out to you. Generally in the comments, you'll get something that says, oh, your review is not right. You made a mistake in the rules. And I'll just go, you got me. You're right. And so your audience will figure out by looking at your campaigns, by looking at your game on Board Game Geek. They'll know, realistically. So you shouldn't be too picky, honestly. You should brace yourself, be prepared for some mistakes from pretty much everybody, just a little bit, just like you would yourself. Everybody's human. But like I said, if you're a reviewer and you're listening to this, and you make mistakes, you should definitely correct them if they're very glaringly obvious. But otherwise, everybody should be really calm, relaxed, all right? And now number 1. Alright guys, so now number one, the main and final question that everybody asks me all the time, well, not all the time, but a lot of the times is, what didn't you like about our game, or why did you not like our game? Now, so when I give a review of a game, right, and I'm giving a 10-point scale, or 2 thumbs up, or a thumb up, I mean, these are all relative to whatever, right? Honestly, a 7 or an 8, a 5 could be in the middle, 5 could be an F. It just depends on how you look at things, I suppose. If I say I like the game, generally I like the game. If I say I don't, I don't. I think realistically a lot of reviewers should probably stay away from those 10-point systems, but if you have the question asked to you, why do you not like our game or whatever, there's a lot of reasons behind that. Now, first of all, every single gamer is different and they're all going to have very specific types of games they like more than others. These are some of the games I really enjoy, and I like trader aspect games. It's a big one of mine. I have a lot of reviewers here and we all like different games, and that's why you'll see a lot of different reviewers on this channel, and the games they like the best are the ones they're going to review. That being said, when you send games in to the people who are reviewing them and your game isn't fully complete, maybe it's just an abstract of what your game is going to be in the future. Maybe you send in some cards, paper cards, or little standee miniatures before the miniatures themselves arrive. You'll have this great envisionment of what your game is going to be and why it deserves the grade it does, but what you send in to the reviewer is not coming at their perspective, right? Not only could your game just not be a game they specifically enjoy, maybe it's not in their wheelhouse, right? Which I would hope if you're a reviewer and you were asking for the review, you wouldn't be doing that. Or the art, right? Maybe you didn't like the art. So it's one thing, too, if the reviewer is asking for your game specifically, like, I like your game, I want to see it, and then they complain about the components or they complain about the art, that's on the reviewer, realistically. If they say they like your art and they see your art and they don't like your art, well, then maybe they're asking for paid reviews. I don't know specifically, but maybe that's what's going on. However, if you ask somebody to review your game and they say yes and they check it out and they say they don't like something about your game, take the criticism. Honestly, publicity is publicity no matter what. The big thing about all this is what you're getting is marketing and advertisements. And that's important. People seeing your game. You want your game to be spread out as far as possible with the biggest audience you can possibly get for either the lowest amount of money or the most amount of money you can possibly spend on your budget to make sure that your game funds so that you can become a board game designer, right? That's what you want to do. And I don't blame you. I'd like to do that as well. In fact, I first started out this channel to become a designer. I realized I had no audience and no one knew who I was, and putting out a big box game was going to be, not very intelligent on my part. So what I decided to do is get involved in the community, and this is how I'm doing it. So, why don't you like our game? Lots and lots of reasons, honestly. Just take the criticism and accept it, and if you don't want to put it on your Kickstarter, you have every reason not to. That video is yours to use, and it should be the reviewer should be having that, that game be yours to use on your channel or on your Kickstarter, your Facebook, whatever. And if you don't want it put up there, fine. But if it's still on there and you see 3,000, 5,000 people see your game, I have backed many games that people have said were not good because I looked at the game and, believe it or not, I have my own opinions and I say, you know what? I like that game. The Others, for instance, by Eric Lang, a lot of people said they didn't like that game. And I got it because I love that game. Hands down love that game. So you're getting the advertisements, all right? And that's what matters. So don't be hung up on the small stuff, guys. Chin up, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next top 5 video.